All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever looked around and just wondered, how do some people seem to get everything they want while others just don't? Is it all just luck? Raw talent? Well, what if I told you it's not random at all? In fact, there's a formula, a surprisingly simple formula that pretty much governs the outcomes of our entire lives. And we're going to break it down.
So let me ask you this directly. Where do the results in your life actually come from? I mean, really, think about it. Your health, your job, the relationships you have, what's the real, honest-to-goodness starting point for all of it?
Here's the thing, it is not a mystery. It's not random, it's a process, a super clear, step-by-step formula. And it starts somewhere you might not expect, deep, deep inside your own mind. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and break that formula down piece by piece. Okay, so every single result in our life, and I mean everything, the good and the bad, it all starts from one single thing. Think of it like a tiny seed that everything else grows from. We're going to call this your inner image.
So what exactly is this image in the mind? Well, the best way to think about it is like a mental blueprint. You know, before anyone builds a house, they have a detailed plan, right? It's the exact same thing here. Before any result shows up in your life, there's a mental image that's acting as the guide. This is ground zero, the very start of the whole process.
Okay, so where does this blueprint even come from? It doesn't just appear out of thin air. It's not magic. It's actually built from all the stuff we take in every single day. You know, the things we hear, the things we see, the stuff we say to ourselves, and everything we learn and come to know. It's all just input.
Right, so once that image, that blueprint, is set in our mind, it kicks off this, well, it's like an internal assembly line. A perfect chain reaction where one step just automatically leads right into the next. It's a system.
And here it is, the first part of that assembly line. It all starts with the image in the mind. From there, that image solidifies into a belief. That belief then starts to guide your thinking, and you guessed it, your thinking is what ultimately pushes you into action. Let's take a closer look at each one of these links in the chain.
Now this part is absolutely key. That mental image, it's not just some random fleeting picture in your head. When you hold on to it long enough, you start to accept it as true. So, an image of yourself as a really confident public speaker, well, that eventually becomes a core belief that you are a confident speaker. See how that works? The blueprint is starting to turn into a solid foundation. And now that belief, it acts like a filter for every thought you have. If you truly believe you're a confident speaker, your thoughts aren't going to be about fear and messing up, right? No way. They're going to naturally be about what to say, how to connect with the audience. Your belief is basically the traffic cop for your mind, directing which thoughts get the green light.
And here we go. This is the moment. This is where everything that's been happening inside your head finally breaks out into the real world. I mean, you can only think about speaking confidently for so long before you just get up and do it. Your thoughts create this powerful urge to act. And that's the very first physical, tangible step in this whole formula.
But wait, a single action? That's not enough to get a big life result, right? Of course not. This is where the assembly line kicks into high gear. It moves from just a one-time thing to building something way more permanent. We're talking about building your actual identity.
Just look at the difference here. Giving one speech. Okay, that's just a single action, an isolated event. No big deal. But what about giving a speech every single week? Now that repetition starts to carve a groove. It forges a habit. And that's the huge difference between just trying something once and becoming the kind of person who does that thing.
And this is where things get really, really powerful. That collection of habits you have, you know, the things you do over and over again without even thinking about them, they don't just shape your day. They literally construct your personality. Think about that. You're not what you do once in a while. You are what you do repeatedly. Your habits are the building blocks of you.
Okay, let's do a quick check-in. Look how far we've come. It all started with that tiny image in the mind. That led to belief, which drove our thinking, which pushed us into action. We repeat that action, and boom, it becomes a habit. And those habits have now built our personality. You see the flow? It's a perfect logical chain reaction.
All right, we are at the final and maybe the most critical part of this entire formula. We've got this personality that we've built up brick by brick. Now, let's see how that personality actually goes out into the world and creates a real, tangible result.
Think about it. When you're faced with a choice or a new opportunity, you don't really sit down and analyze it from square one every time, do you? Of course not. Your personality,
that identity you've been building this whole time, it makes the choice feel almost automatic. If you have the personality of a healthy person, choosing a salad over fries, it's not a big internal battle. It just feels like the natural, obvious thing to do.
And boom, this is the end of the line, the final, critical connection. That choice you just made, it directly and inevitably delivers your result. The choice to eat the salad brings the result of better health. The choice to speak up in that meeting brings the result of being seen as a leader. Your results are never an accident. They are always, always the direct consequence of a choice.
So there it is. This isn't just some nice little theory or a cute self-help idea. No, according to the source material, this is the fundamental operating system for how we as human beings create the life we experience. It's the formula for life.
Let's just look at the whole thing, all laid out one last time. It starts with an image that flows into belief, into thinking, then action, then habit, then personality, then choice, which produces a predictable result. See, every single step causes the next one, which means if you ever want to change your results, you can't just start at the end. You've got to go all the way back to the beginning.
So the most important thing to remember is this. This formula isn't just something that happens to you, it's a tool. It's a tool that you can use. You're holding the blueprint. You get to choose the initial image. You get to build the habits and shape the personality that will make the choices you want. So the only real question left is, now that you know the formula, what are you going to build?